it's Melina J. Today we're going to install Linux Mint 20.2, which is also called Yuma. Before installing, we have done 4 things. We have made a bootable live USB. We have disabled Secure Boot from the BIOS menu. If we want to install as a dual boot, that is to say to install Linux Mint alongside the OS that was pre-installed on the computer so that we can keep both, we have made some space on the hard drive. This is called repartitioning and it is done from the OS pre-installed on the computer. And we have backed up all our files in case something goes wrong. It's also recommended to be connected to the internet. Now we can start the install. The computer is off. Insert the live USB, turn the computer on and immediately start pressing the F key, which will bring the boot menu. It may vary from computer to computer. It's often either F2, F5 or F12. Select the USB key and press Enter. Press Enter. You can try Linux Mint for a bit, check the internet, the sound, etc. Double-click on the Install Linux Mint icon on the desktop. This will launch the installer. Select the language you want to install Linux Mint in. Click on Continue. Select your keyboard layout. Click on Continue. Here you can decide whether you want to install the additional multimedia codecs, which might be needed to properly display content on a few websites or apps. If you decide to not install them now, you will still be able to install them later. Click on Continue. Now we can pick which type of installation we want. You can either choose to install Linux Mint alongside the OS pre-installed on your computer, which means you are going to have a dual boot. Sometimes this option might be missing. You will then need to pick something else. Or choose Erase Disk and install Linux Mint, which means everything on your computer will be deleted and Linux Mint will be installed on a whole disk instead. Or you can choose something else, which means doing the partitioning yourself. For example, if you intend to have more than 2 OS on your computer. Please note that if you are doing the partitioning yourself, and if your computer is new with no OS pre-installed on it yet, you will need to make an EFI partition from the live USB first. That is to say, before starting this install process. When choosing Install Linux Mint alongside the pre-installed OS, or Erase Disk and install Linux Mint, click on Install Now. The process will be automated and you won't have to do much. Here I'm going to choose something else as I like doing the partitioning myself. It's not very complicated, just do as follows. Click on Continue. Double-click on Free Space. We are going to make a root partition. It's recommended to allocate between 30 GB to 50 GB space for the root partition. Here we need to type the values in MB. Here I'm using 40,000 MB, which will not actually translate into 40 GB, but into 37 GB. If you have a lot of space on your hard drive, I would recommend to use at least 45,000 MB. Type for the new partition is primary. Location for the new partition is beginning of this space. Use as ext4. And the mount point is root, that is to say /. Click on OK. The root partition now appears in the partitions list. We're now going to make a swap partition. Double-click on Free Space. While there might be different preferences depending on what you use your computer for, according to most tutorials, it's recommended to have a swap partition that is as big as your RAM, especially if you like to have your computer hibernate. That is to say that if your computer has 16 GB of RAM, you make a 16 GB swap partition. For old computers, it was recommended to have a swap partition that is 1.5 times the size of your RAM. That is to say, if your computer has 4 GB of RAM, it was recommended to make a 6 GB swap partition. Here I'm going to make a bigger swap partition as I intend to use my computer for resource-demanding tasks. Type for the new partition is primary. Location for the new partition is end of this space. Use as swap area. Click on OK. Now the swap partition appears in the partitions list. Now we're going to make a home partition. Double-click on Free Space. You can use the remaining free space or locate the space you want. Type for the new partition is primary. Location for the new partition is beginning of this space. Use as ext4. And the mount point is /home. Click on OK. The home partition now appears in the partitions list. We are done with the partitioning. We need to make sure the device for bootloader installation is the hard drive. If it's an SDA one, there should not be any number after SDA. Otherwise, the main clue to know if the right thing is selected is the size in brackets at the end. It should correspond to the size of your disk. Click on Install Now. You have a confirmation window. Check and see if everything is right. Then click on Continue. It might take a short while. Select your location. Click on Continue. Now we need to pick a username and a password. Click on Continue. The installation has not started. It can take a while. The installation is now finished. Click on Restart Now. Remove the live USB and press Enter. We have now a boot menu, which is called Grab Menu. Select Linux Mint. It's usually the top one, and press Enter. Input your password. So yeah, Linux Mint is now installed on your computer. We will need to set a few things up. We will do this in part 2 of this tutorial. That's all for today. See you next time.